China's largest cities are collapsing. Nearly half of China's largest cities are collapsing, new research shows. Scientists indicate that the causes of this phenomenon lie in the huge abstraction of groundwater and the sheer weight of buildings and infrastructure. This poses a potential threat to hundreds of millions of people. The authors of the study looked at 82 Chinese cities. Satellite data showed that 45% the analyzed areas are collapsing. The results and description of the research by scientists from the University of East Anglia, UEA, and Virginia Tech were published in the journal, Science. For the analysis, the researchers examined land subsidence in every Chinese city with more than 2 million inhabitants between 2015 and 2022. They used satellites to measure any changes in the distance between the satellite and the surface using radar pulses. The results showed that 45% of the 82 cities examined are sinking by more than 3 mm per year, and 16% of them by more than 10 mm per year or more. For example, Shanghai, the largest city in China, inhabited by over 25 million people, has sunk by about 3 meters over the last 100 years. Cities such as Beijing and Tianjin were also particularly affected. Scientists emphasize that measuring land subsidence so precisely using satellites is a great achievement, but they add that this is only the beginning of this type of measurements. Predicting future land subsidence requires developing models that take into account all factors, including human activity and climate change, and how these may change over time. Land subsidence appears to be related to a number of factors, such as groundwater abstraction and building weight, the researchers wrote in the paper. Skyscrapers are being built at a rapid pace. The road network is expanding, and groundwater is being overused, they added. The exploitation of groundwater indicated by the researchers causes the creation of empty spaces under the surface. In places where there was water, these spaces eventually collapse under increasing weight. In addition, transport, which causes vibrations, accelerates this process. There are many factors leading to land subsidence. Robert Nichols of UEA, who was not involved in the work, admitted in a commentary on the research that he believed groundwater abstraction was probably the dominant cause. In China, many people live in areas that, from a geological point of view, have undergone sedimentation relatively recently. So when groundwater is removed or soil is drained, it tends to settle, he said, adding that land subsidence threatens the structural integrity of buildings and critical infrastructure and exacerbates the effects of climate change in the form of flooding, particularly in coastal cities, where it enhances the rise sea level. Most changes in groundwater were of anthropogenic nature, the scientists emphasized in the publication. As for natural factors, they mainly included the geological location of each city and the depth of the bedrock, which affects the weight the Earth can support without collapsing. Urban land subsidence threatens infrastructure and the people living there. It causes cracks in the ground and increases the risk of flooding. Sinking cities on China's eastern coast could soon be below sea level. It is estimated that in the next 100 years even 26% the surface of the Middle Kingdom may fall below this threshold. Currently it is about 6%. Cities affected by land subsidence are concentrated in the eastern part of the country and along the coast. The authors suggested in the publication that the solution to the problem may be long-term control of groundwater abstraction. Restrictions on groundwater withdrawals helped earlier in Tokyo. Tokyo sank around the port by about 5 meters, recalled Nichols. He added that in the 1970s, Tokyo authorities began supplying water to residents of the capital from areas outside the city. Well bans have also been introduced and this has generally stopped or significantly stopped land subsidence, showing that this is an effective strategy. However, this problem also affects other countries. Another study released in February this year found that about 6.3 million square kilometers of land around the world was at risk of subsidence. One of the countries most affected by this problem is Indonesia. But cities are also collapsing in the US. According to the United States Geological Survey, USGS, this problem affects nearly 28,000 people, square miles of land in 45 states. The USGS indicates that more than 80% of identified subsidence events in the US occurred as a result of overexploitation of groundwater.